Hi and welcome back to today's video. Today we are talking whatever about building a reading habit because it can be scary. I'm gonna talk through the very start of my reading journey, like my reading journey currently, to where I'm at now, which I have read every single day of this year so far, at least a page a day. I'm sorry there was what? I'm sorry if there's any background noise. Yeah. First thing I found really important to say is that due to social media and stuff, reading can feel really overwhelming right now. And it can really feel like something there's a lot of pressure behind, like reading 100 books a year or whatever. I do not like that. I put my reading goal pretty low. Low. 30 books a year is a lot. Yeah, 10 books a year is a lot. If you read a book a month, that's a lot of books. When you really think about it, it's a lot of books. So that's something you have to figure out for yourself, what you find a good reading pace for you. If you want to set a limit to it, because you are someone's me, who tends to fall into a rabbit hole with things and needs to not get a reading addiction. So let's start with the very first time I picked up an English book, because English is not my first language. That's just my first language, which as of right now, I don't really read Dutch books anymore that much. A little bit, but really not that often. The first book I actually picked up was If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy, which is a Disney retelling, which I found really enticing and really interesting. Again, it's a book I found on Book Talk, but it wasn't crazy popular. I have not actually seen a lot of people talk about these books. I really like them. I've only read the first two of the. It's a series by Disney retellings that are turned romance. If the Shoe Fits is about a mid-size / plus-size lead who, it's a Cinderella retelling, loves shoes, and somehow gets into a bachelor kind of program, and it has a meet cute in it. It's a really fluffy, cutesy rom-com book, and pretty easy read. That was really important in the beginning, is that books were easy to read. Honestly, I think if I were to reread some of the books that I read in the beginning and gave 5 stars, I'm not sure if I would give them 5 stars anymore. I don't know. Not that my reading has changed that much though. Right. So that's where I started at the end of 2021, I think, is when I read that book. And I just made Goodreads. That was all I did. Currently I have Goodreads, Fable, Bookmaree, Storygraph, and Storytel. Which Storytel isn't a tracking thing. I'll talk about those apps later. That's the first book I read, and then I just kept finding more books and basically didn't stop reading to where we're at right now. So the most important thing for me was that there wasn't too much pressure on it. It's fun. It doesn't need to be competitive. I'm not really a competitive person. If you need it to get goals, sure. And it's really important to remember that every type of reading is productive reading. Is something you can learn things from, whether it is fiction or non-fiction, whether it's historical things, or it's romance, thrillers, fantasy books, whatever. You will always learn shit in books. There might be vocabulary things that you learn. It might be, especially if English is not your first language, I feel like reading is a good way to broaden your knowledge on it. So that's that. And then sure, find what you enjoy reading. At the beginning, I was reading rom-coms. What else is a book I read at the beginning? Shadow Me I read pretty quickly, I think. The Fine Print and stuff. And Summaries Are Pretty and A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Especially if English is not your first language and you're let's say 15-ish, definitely pick young adult books first because they are a lot easier to read. I didn't do that because I didn't want to. basically. I don't like making a big like difference between YA and new adult because I like reading both. They're different vibes. If I do want to say, beware of trigger warnings in books if you have trigger warnings. Beware of spice. If that's something you do not want to read about, especially at the beginning, be aware of it. There are lots of great authors who read non-spicy books. Let's say Lynn Painter, Sarah Adams. Emily Henry books aren't that spicy. Abby Jimenez books aren't that spicy. I do have to say, Emily Henry and Abby Jimenez are a little harder to read at the beginning. If English isn't your first language, there are a lot more to take in, I feel like. Which might be very unpopular opinion. And I'm sorry to say, but Colleen Hoover does write really easy books to read, especially in the beginning of your reading journey. They're really easy. I am not a literary critic at all. Like, at all. I don't know shit. I know shit, but like, I don't really care. I find it really weird to be like, the author is probably meaning this when the author is dead, like, or even when they're alive. Like, you didn't know why they were writing it. I write. I don't think about it. I'm just in the story when I'm writing, so oh, that's not the point. Anyhow, I did enjoy reading as a kid too. Like, that's important to remember, but I hated it for school because whenever you have to do something, it's gonna get boring and stupid and you wouldn't want to do it. So that's really important for me, to keep it really light and simple. Find creators you like that are really motivating. I love Florissa, so Larry Reads. Yana, one of my favorites. I actually follow quite a lot of BookTok and BookTube creators. So yeah, that's that. Think about what genre you're gonna start in as thinking about what kind of TV shows and movies you love. I really enjoy watching like action movies and thrillers as well. And then I like watch everything, just like I read everything, but the majority I watch and read is romance or romance related. You know, so that's like something you have to figure out for yourself. If you hate watching rom-coms, if you hate watching romance movies, if you hate watching coming-of-age movies, don't read those things. You're not gonna like it. It's the same, except for it's words on paper instead of things on the screen. So figure that out. Things that help. I really like reading with music. I tend to just look up playlists on Spotify. I'm not a big audio book person unless I'm like in the car for a really long time. Then I do listen to audiobooks sometimes. But not my favorite thing. Anyway, music really helps set the vibes for me. A lot of books do have playlists, but I tend to like look for other people's things. Playlists that are like including the playlist that's in the book, but adding extra songs, because I prefer it to be like a 5-hour long playlist instead of like an hour long playlist, because otherwise you will keep repeating, especially if you're gonna read for longer than an hour. And just start by reading one chapter at a time, and maybe reading once a week, depending on how easy you get into a book and how obsessive you get over things. Oops. Things that, and then like the actual building a habit out of it. For me, what really helps is Fable. Fable is a great way to track it. I don't like Goodreads for this. Fable really tracks like your reading streak. It's like the first thing you see when you open the app. They have a widget on it. I have it. You can get notification on like Happy Tuesday. Or like happy to be sure to pick up your book today, or pick up your book and read for 5 minutes, and those type of things. Really, really nice. If you have a really, really, really busy life, I recommend getting an e-reader. I have the Kindle Paperwhite. Get whatever you want. I don't really care what you get. Just know that it's way easier to bring with you everywhere. Like in the summer and stuff, I actually prefer reading on my Kindle or during the holidays, just because you can bring it everywhere with you and it's not that big of a hassle. You do not need a huge bag to bring this with you, whereas with a book, for example, the Addicted series, these are pretty big books. But like you also have smaller books like The Fine Print by Piactus. Depending on like where you get your books and stuff, they will be different sizes. Find authors you like. I obviously love Anna Wong books. I think they're pretty easy to read. I think the Twisted series is a really great series to get into spicy and slightly darker romance books. They're not fully dark romance. I know that. Okay, don't worry. Also, if you are someone who doesn't want to give too much money when it comes to books, especially ebooks, look up stuff for Kindle base. I love the Romance Book Blast events. I have found some of my favorite books on there actually. So the only thing to keep in mind within the authors is that there tend to be some mistakes in the books because they tend to not get edited as well as like traditionally published bigger authors. It's fine. If there's a couple mistakes, I can live with it. If you're someone who is reading for a way to track your books without having the social aspect of it that Fable and Goodreads have, I would recommend Storygraph or Bookmarine. Storygraph is a little better reviewing wise. I like Bookmarine when it comes to tracking because it has like a little line at the top where you see how far you're into a book, like it's a visual thing. And it's really just the most simple book, like layout stuff. You know, so those things really help me. And again, do not put pressure on it. Like, I try to pick up my book at least once a day. I really like reading at night. For that, I do have a little tip. Is get one of those book lights you can clip to your book. I really like it. It's really helping me to read at night because who the fuck wants to lay in bed with a big light on when they're reading a book? Not me. Definitely not me. Absolutely not. I hate it. That was one of the reasons I didn't read as much in bed unless I was reading on my Kindle, because you do not need a light when reading on your Kindle. If you're not ready to invest in your Kindle, try reading on your phone or iPad or some other device. I didn't like that. I do not enjoy reading on my phone whatsoever because I hate it actually. Anyway, also something that really helps motivation-wise is finding like WhatsApp groups or Instagram groups or whatever you can join. I need to sneeze. They are like talking about books. I am in a little bookish WhatsApp group with some people from Belgium. So we speak Dutch, but we mostly read English books. It's really fun. Finding creators is really helpful. So that's really how I did it. And it's really important to find books you enjoy. Like that's obviously the most important thing. Like I have a classic and like a couple of classics on my bookshelf that I like didn't really want to read because it's so much brain power. I read for entertainment and to turn my brain off mostly. You know, like disappear into a different world. As someone with anxiety, it really helps. It's an escape. It's escapism. Is it healthy? I don't know, but it's fine. Better than sitting in front of a screen all day. Also, really important to remember, especially in the beginning, it's gonna strain your eyes a little bit. At least it's gonna feel like that right now. Whenever I get a headache, I'm like, put that fucking phone away and read the book because my headache gets a lot less because you don't have those screens, you know. And be aware, yes, an ebook is a screen. For me, my Kindle Paperwhite does not annoy me the same way my phone does. It's a different type of light than a phone. Like, you can even see the difference. This is just a default background right now. My favorite books are probably these. Also, don't be scared of books being longer. Sometimes a longer book's easier to read. I'm gonna say Sarah Adams are really nice books to read at the beginning if you like fluffy rom-coms. Yeah, they're so easy. I read those books in a day, like easy, because of how fun and quick they are, and there's fun enjoying it. And I love like getting special editions. Like this one's so pretty. It's the only. No, that's not right. Yeah, kind of it is. Just don't put too much pressure on it. If you want to enjoy it, enjoy it. If you don't want to enjoy it, don't. and like talk about books with your friends, because you will turn non-reader friends into readers. I'll tell you that right now. Anyhow, that's it for today. I hope you enjoy it. Again, reading should be fun. Do not judge other people for what they are reading. If they're reading, that's good. Yeah? That's all. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to do a thumbs up. If you did not, your problem, not mine. Why am I like this? Why am I... Isn't there a song that's like, why am I like... I think it's from Hearts. It wasn't Heartstoppers, but I don't really remember. Anyway, love you. Bye!